go throughout a game of a team that really wants to scale into the late game. Whereas on EDG's side, I feel like they have a lot of good tools to start fights and initiate things. Specifically, it means that potentially a little bit of an advantage here given towards EDG as they have started up this Hextech Dragon. Perukia going to spot out Vampire here, but looks like JDG want to go for the collapse. Weaver's Wall, though, immediately onto the Alistar. They're going to try to burst down this support, who does not have that flash, as we've mentioned. Vampire using that headbutt to try and gain some distance, but it will not be enough. That is first blood picked up for the Wukong.
And I love that they actually, and that's Xiaoshu, they're like 102 years old, as Junjia is really going for a crazy play here. Blast Cone's over the wall and now is looking for a 50-50.
Definitely has a lot of damage. With that Supreme Dispel Talent available, he's actually going to use it into the Dragon Pit, but just yeet himself back out with that. So that's a flash burn for Junjia and a couple of ultimates, but it will be that first Dragon secured for EDG.
So yeah, should be able to dish out a little bit more damage than the Aphelios, depending on the guns, of course.
See, it looks like we're going to see a play in the top side now. The Grim Deliverance does come through, and Junjia, or sorry, I should say Xiaohao coming in with a Cyclone.
The top side there, looking for a cross-map play onto Angel. I like this a lot.
Certainly on a timer, Hongq waiting for that Unraveled Earth to come out, and Vampire actually going to be the one to eat it with that headbutt pull. Has the Unbreakable Will, and it will be enough to make sure that he survives through the barrage of turret shots that will come upon him. Angel goes...
Gala is very, very valuable in that department, as Xiaoshu is getting just aggressed onto again by multiple members of EDG.
Well, if it worked once, might as well try it again. Maybe it's not actually the kill that they want, just the turret, and that is actually going to be the strategy. Leave with the satchel, able to take it down almost from 100% HP, and with the help of that satchel and the 3 grubs, they'll get Xiaoshu.
Now you have a whole crash down, which will, net you a turret outright. And there isn't a lot of stock in that first turret. I mean, you give over some stats with the
scale pretty well. I think both EDG and JDG have that belief. Rift Herald immediately getting popped in the mid lane with the card for either of these sides as we approach the 17-minute mark of this game, and Perukia getting caught, potentially going for a ward kill. Gonna cost him his life with the help of a really nice engage by Vampire. Utilizes a flash, but they're gonna be... That kill went to Hongq. He now is, again, 100% of the kills here, and 2 full items at the 18-minute mark. Might be another one added to his pocket, although he is on the other side of the map. This is just JDG making another collapse onto Perukia, who has gotten caught out back-to-back.
I like this timer, getting onto ZDZ. The death timers are pretty long, and Junjia is super fast. He can make it to the other side if they get this kill, but they have to do it quickly.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything quickly against Azehen, but they're trying their darndest. A lot of crowd control has been issued, and they will get the kill before his passive gets procced. ZDZ goes down, and Hongq goes on a killing. Going to be starting it up, at least in a temporary fashion.
We can see Vampire is using that teleport with the Unsealed Spellbook. So is Hongq. They are all going to respond to this. This Otacon is super important for pushing these scaling members of both comps over the edge in terms of those breakpoints and in terms of power. The Dragon is also up. So if a team thinks that it is disadvantageous, they can
over that area of the map, as it looks like JDG are still waiting for their members to fully arrive. The Otacon is at 6,000 HP. ZDZ getting chased out here by Xiaoshu, and now JDG are in a position where they can go for a turn of their own. Redemption comes through from Perukia, but the health bars are now in a bit dangerous of a situation, as JDG are going to get their opportunity to start the objective, but Perukia will immediately answer with an engage as the Otacon goes JDG's way, but they lose their mid laner response, and ZDZ is jumping forward and forcing Junjia to dash away. Grim Deliverance over the wall is not going to be enough to close the gap, but it will be Vampire dying on the other side. It's a double kill in for Leave as EDG get 2 kills, but the Otacon, the blue pings towards it. JDG want to at least try to bait Edward Gaming into going for it.
I like this. Scala has red-white. He's got flash. He's got ghost. They have every resource up in their arsenal to be able to fight for this, and EDG are now forced to walk into this meat grinder of a comp.
Xiaoshu immediately going forward with that unstoppable onslaught as Perukia is still far away, but Hongq just gets caught out. It's Perukia that actually ends up getting the final blow of that kill. Vampire dies as well. How did Hongq die there? A brutal mistake by the JDG mid laner is going to allow for EDG to not actually go towards the Baron, but instead push down mid.
Yeah, EDG should be able to secure this tier 2 in mid, but now, I mean, the Baron buff is still kept alive on 3 members of JDG, so you're not really going to be able to push past that point. Overall, like you said, Grapes, it was a really good look there by Perukia to catch Hongq out mispositioned on the Azir. and it does give them a kill they probably should not have gotten, but the Baron is still there for JDG, and it's the same story twice where you do take some members away, but you lose the objective at the exact same time.
Not for EDG, though. I mean, they still don't have Honkyu on the map, so they're...
And the CC train with the Cyclone that just locked him up. So it was actually Angel that found that angle as Vampire.
Caught out potentially here. Still does not have that Unbreakable Will, but Junja goes in here with the supreme display of talent, forces EDG to pop the ultimate early, but he's now stacked up and will be able to revive. But Gala gets the first kill onto the Rel, and EDG have gotten themselves a kill right back as Junja has fallen. ZDZ eventually will drop, as it is a double kill picked up for the Aphelios, and Xiaohao still on the run. He dashes forward, but it is to no avail. JDG get 3 kills right back.
And they still have Baron on Gala. They can retake control of the threat of ZDZ and Xiaohao joining up their teammates as they finally do get that mid lane tier 1. This is what they really needed to be looking.
Vampire has always been a bold player, but this was certainly a bold decision even for him. Ends up working out, though. Junja is the only one that falls on his team side.
Because he still does not have that flash up. It's, you know, like I would say 15 seconds off of cooldown, but once he does, that's really when I expect JDG to look for these engages that they are posturing to do so.
Just completely out of position, gets hit up by the Supreme Display of Talent. He's going to have that Guardian Angel proc before his second issue of the Cyclone can even go through. He has to dash away as the Moonlight Vigil all the way from downtown is able to take Perukia out of the fight. And in goes Honkyu on the Azir, finds the shuffle, goes golden, and is able to get a triple kill into the hands of his AD carry. The revives are here on ZDZ's side, but it will not matter as he's forced to run the wrong way on the opposite side of the map. A quadra kill is in essence secured, but Gala will instead go to turn his sights towards the Zehen, who was able to take one back on the other side. Actually gets Vampire as well, but Gala will issue the killing blow. An unofficial quadra
is so good at knowing when to pull the trigger, knowing when to get involved in the fight.
With a crucial Shurima shuffle to get into the fight and take down some critical members, but Gala is the one who is the big beneficiary of it all. 7-0-2, but again, EDG have themselves soul point, and they could try to secure the soul with the dragon at now 3,000 HP and no jungler in sight for JDG. So Edward Gaming are able to get the soul, but will they be able to get out with their lives? We will see, as the Decimating Smash does get cancelled by the initial proc of the Cyclone, but it will cost Xiaohao his life as Junja gets kill number 1 of the game for him. JDG are, in my opinion, going to have to focus as a hen to make sure he doesn't get that revive and make sure he is able to go down before that passive ends up getting procced.
Look at Junjia on the back. He's actually flanking right here. They're looking for something.
Oh, leave use of the satchel, but it might put him out of position. In they go. Angel going to be the one targeted, but he goes golden at just the right time. Back Inferno Barb does a lot to Chunk, and here goes ZDZ. He tries to jump in with the Grim Deliverance, but Honkyu says, not today, sir, and throws out the Emperor's Divide and forces the revive onto the Zehen. Instead, he'll get immediately knocked up. No, it gets canceled instead. The Moonlight Vigil does go wide. An opportunity has opened up for Edward Gaming, and it looks like Perukia has taken full advantage. A knockup does land as Xiaoshu is still very much alive. Gala has a Guardian Angel proc, and he will immediately go down to leave, who hits a double kill. Gets a satchel on the Honkyu as well. And Edward Gaming, out of nowhere, are able to win a full-on team fight. That's 4 down, and they'll march down the mid lane.
I mean, it's 50 seconds, right? The death timers, they're absolutely massive. Junjia, he's going to try and look for maybe a wraparound to assassinate Leave, but I don't think he knows he's there. He has to try and get back to base. He has to try and stall out this game, but I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think it is going to make a difference. EDG find their moment. Honkyu disengages the fight, but it is Xiaohao on the Wukong and ZDZ on his Zehen that re-engage and solidify their win here in Game 1.
Right, where it's not all going in now for JDG. They can play a little bit on both sides. They can go on the offensive, on the defensive, and try to soak up what EDG have to throw at them.
You know, I wouldn't mind a replay.
We'll go back to the tape on that, but if
my eyes deceive me?
If it did result in that game taken, we'll call it a success, because and also with Xiaoshu pushing into ZDZ for essentially the entirety of this laning phase, going to be very difficult for that to happen. The equalizer kind of adding to that inevitability. So there will be some extra pushing power here on JDG's side for the remainder of the game.
Ooh, oh.
Maybe Xiaohao, though, going to try to punish as he goes forward with the Paranoia. Fear lands onto Xiaoshu. He pops the Scrap Shield to stay alive, and he does live long enough for potentially Junja to make this a even fight. In goes Vampire with the quickness, charms up one, knocks up a second, as ZDZ will be in a whole lot of trouble with Junja flashing over and making it a 2-for-1 for JDG.
Are going to try and contest for this future dragon. I don't think it's going to be very easy, though. You look at the lanes right now, and look at bot lane.
Leave burns both of his summoner spells and still might end up paying. It's end up giving a 1, and Gala's going to go down as well. Nicely done by Leave to generate enough distance between that Kaisa and himself to make sure that turret, as Junja will go back to the scene of the crime, start this dragon up. Xiaoshu is overheated, but now EDG could be looking for a fight. The Drake's already been secured by JD Gaming, but in goes Perukia looking for the engage, gets bursted down, but is going to survive a little bit longer before the rest of the assault begins. Leave transcends and is untouched on the back line for now, but Junja is still massive here in the front line and eviscerating Angel and the rest of EDG. He dashes into the bush, but he's not going to be able to get one back as Angel gets himself another kill, and at the end of the day, it is a 3-for-3.
Had it existed maybe 5 minutes later, it would have been an EDG wipe, but unfortunately, they just don't have the damage to back up all of the AoE in their kits.
And so instead, we retain a relatively even game state.
Be a banger, and then it actually ends up being a banger. That is just the best feeling ever. Certainly better to the contrary, which is a super hype series, and then it ends up under-delivering.
Oh, yeah. Their round-robin stage by beating a team like BLG, beating a team like OMG in the way that they did, I think left a lot of people confident about what they could end up doing. And sure, there have been mistakes, but I think we're feeling confident about either of these teams' prospects if they are to advance past each other as we look towards the top lane. And Angel gets himself a solo kill.
Yeah, this Angel, he's got hands.
Angel, though, 3-0 on the Akali. We remember just 10 minutes ago how behind he was.
Yeah, what a
lane.
turnaround.
Now he's really starting to come online, and the rest of his team suddenly looking for a play on the opposite side of the map, while now Angel could be the one collapsed upon up top. Let's take a look at the bot lane first, as Xiaohao has gone in with the Paranoia and has feared Xiaoshu up. No flash available for him, so that should be an easy kill onto the JDG top laner. And meanwhile, Angel able to get out unscathed, not even having to burn that perfect execution. It's going to cost a top lane tier 1 turret, but ZDZ is going to be able to answer it on the bottom side.
Hey, 3-dash diff. EDG are able to make the cross-map play onto the immobile rumble, and I mean, Xiaoshu just can't catch a break in these past couple of minutes. You know, we were kind of ripping in these fights, but they may have actually been a bit too late. JDG are just onto the dragon with no contest, curiously enough, Grapes.
Zhao's not even in Paranoia range, and even if he was, the rest of his team isn't even there. So it would be very good for them to start that stacking right now.
Certainly would. EDG as well. You know, the Cloud Dragon, particularly for this top side, is going to do a lot as Junji is just walking into 2.
Yeah, he seems to enjoy doing that. Look at the equalizer burn as well. Perfectly placed by Xiaoshu, forcing a redemption to be issued by Perukia. And now Xiaohao's still going to have to head back to base. He used his ultimate. He's going to be chunked out. That is JDG getting a free start of this Otacon.
Yeah, Xiaohao can't reset. He has to try and steal this Otacon. He has to follow his team into an engage. But the Paranoia is usually how you try to start up these fights. I'm looking at ZDZ to try and be that go button, Perukia to be that go button. But JDG are smartly just kind of stalling out this fight and not fully committing onto the Otacon. It is a war of attrition, as it always is with this objective.
Hurrah for Otacon, for the winter map, and for the 2025 year as a whole. Looks like these teams are going to go out swinging as we get a big engage onto Xiaoshu, who is overheated and taken out. Leave is the one to land the final kill, and Perukia is going in to try to continue the engage, but knockup lands onto Angel. He uses the Shroud to get himself out alive, and Leave has now been transcended and issuing a bunch of empowered auto attacks onto the JDG side. It is a 4 versus 5 in favor of EDG, but the health bars are not necessarily favorable as they have the Otacon at 10,000 HP and Junja still with his smite.
And how do you engage this fight as JDG? I mean, Vampire doesn't have ult. You don't really have a go button. You just kind of have to walk at them. But EDG have the poke.
Here goes the public execution. ZDZ pulls the trigger. It takes 2 with him, but it's going to be the drag of the Otacon secured by Edward Gaming and Xiaohao. Leave still has that lethal tempo procced, but Gala uses the killer instinct in the backline to assassinate Perukia. But it's going to be one traded back as a teleport comes in. Xiaoshu wants blood, wants revenge for getting taken down earlier at that team fight, and Xiaohao will end up falling.
And it is Junjia
Blood
and
Roses, though, with that buff. And so we'll see if JDG are going to be able to just take advantage of the extra gold they got on the back end of that play. With this dragon getting started off by Edward Gaming. Xiaohao in the area, but not actively hitting that dragon. Has the paranoia, but JDG have control over this brush on the bottom side of the mid lane. And they've caught out Angel and forced him to use the Hurricane flip back. ZDZ's on a flank himself.
He's going in.
But now in goes Angel, trying to assassinate Gala. He's in the Shroud, so he's able to live for a little bit longer, but he will get immediately followed and taken down by the wind becomes lightning as Junja issues the first casualty in the fight, and Xiaohao goes way too far forward, and Gala will live through it all. Equalizer separates the bottom lane of EDG, and ZDZ will be the next target. Solar Flare buying some time, but not enough here for the Mbessa, as Honkyu will get himself on the board as well. It's a 3-0 on JDG side as Gala survives a boatload of assassination attempts that were thrown his way.
And Gala just scoffing, kind of brushing off.
Won the fight, got the dragon, and got the Baron. So they're pushing now in multiple lanes. ZDZ's got a little bit of a wave crashing in the top side, but not going to nearly match up to everything that JDG's been able to get here.
Now that ZDZ is actually resetting and redeploying along with his team to defend his base, I don't think it's going to matter. So this is really limiting EDG's options at this point in time where you have Baron on JDG, you've got Soul Point, so you're on a timer, and it feels like some of your champions really haven't scaled and or their time in the sun has come to an end. It feels like Angel was a huge mid-game threat, but has struggled in these past couple of fights, Grapes, to find a proper target to assassinate.
And again, I think you mentioned it, Quacks. Not all of EDG seem to be on the same page. We have not seen that wow moment from him just yet in this series, but this could be an opportunity for him to do so. Trying to turn around one of this game. But it looks like Perukia is actually going to be the one to pull the trigger first as he immediately goes in with the flash, but he will go down to the likes of Gala, and Xiaohao will be next. It's a double kill for Gala, and they're looking for the whole rest of the pie. There's a double off of the equalizer on its own, and it's a 5-0 ace. A triple kill in for Gala's Kaisa, and that will be JDG marching into the bottom lane and evening our series up at 1.
3 for Gala, 2 for Xiaoshu, and 1 for JDG. Ladies and gentlemen, Grapes said it. We have a series here in the Demacia Cup. JDG, the team that so many were excited to see on paper rise to the occasion and who are so looking forward to their 2026 season, rebounding after a rough start to now take EDG.
Thing that does a whole lot of damage to match up to the very tanky composition that Edward Gaming have for themselves here. I think this Aurelian Soul checks off some of those boxes, although it might take some time to get
impactful. But when you've got a comp who has a bunch of health stackers and a good amount of frontline here as EDG, I think getting this early little bit more beefiness is going to actually impact these fights pretty significantly in EDG's favor.
Junja's hunting. He does have the empowered spell on his next cast. Will it be enough to secure the steal? But the Flag and Drag is going to come through, and Junja's already taken down very, very low. But the rest of his team is on the way. Dredgeline connects. He's going to have the shield to buy some time, but it will not be enough as First Blood gets secured by Perukia and Edward Gaming. Xiaoshu has gone all out, though, looking for one more Q to try to take Perukia down, but he flashed away from the Antofo strikes, but won't be able to play a flash away from this one. However, it will be Leave trading that kill over as Xiaoshu falls for getting that one onto the Nautilus. So a 2-for-1 overall here for EDG, but nobody actually claiming the dragon.
Vampire does have the ignite. Wait, hang on.
That's just gonna be a kill. Wow, was not expecting that
from all angles. Gala and Vampire have priority here. A Honkyu is in mid lane. They just have to kind of close this pincer, but it doesn't look like they are able to do so. It's the first grub going over to EDG, and yeah, JDG, they're just not pulling the trigger, but 2 are still available.
I'm very surprised that JDG did not just immediately start this up on spawn that allowed Xiaohao to get there and claim the first 2 of these grubs. Unless the deadly flourish from Gala says otherwise, it's going to at least make it not a sweep of the 3. And now it'll be JDG going for the re-engage with Junja issuing the Grand Starfall. And Gala with the final shot of the curtain call makes it.
Yeah, they were amazing. And ASouls was like, oh my gosh, this champion's amazing. He comes out on the first day. I think I played him once. Was like, what is this? And just never picked him up again. Probably there isn't really a reason to overcommit for a lot of these fights in the next couple of minutes. I mean, you've got Herald in 2.5, Dragon in 4, but Vampire is not taking that to heart.
Nice flash by ZDZ to get away from the wallbang stun, but not going to get away from Junja using a flash of his own. The empowered Q executing the Udyr and giving JDG their 4th kill. The game will have extra priority and a little bit of extra chip damage onto this mid lane tier 1. Won't be able to get the full turret, but it allows for EDG to position themselves around this Dragon Pit, either start it up or force a fight.
And now, I mean, you're face checking into a Nautilus, you're face checking into a Mel. Like, these are dangerous champions to be walking in with no vision against. As we can see, Curtain Call has been cast.
Not going to find much of a forced shot. Angel popping that rebuttal to try to get that forced
pop,
shot back, but not going to actually end up having that connect. So that ultimate from Gala doesn't end up doing a whole lot. Vampire with the Keeper's Verdict does send away ZDZ, setting a numbers advantage in favor of JDG for now, and Junja will be able to secure the Dragon for JD Gaming. Xiao with the Cataclysm, not able to find too much, but a hook now connects onto Vampire, and he's taken out by the execute of the Mel. Angel gets on the board first, but the carries for JDG are still in good positions, and a big amount of burn damage is starting to rain down onto EDG's hands at the hands of Hongq himself on the Aurelion Soul. Ultimate from Angel, not finding an execute, and the flag and drag will find Junja instead. Dragon secured by JDG, but EDG are able to get a couple back.
And honestly, massive when you trying to be dark and mysterious, but you're just cute. I mean, I have a plushie of the guy somewhere. He's my tree topper. Oh yeah, I forgot.
You have a
if I were to break out here and a team were to dominate it, it wouldn't just be one objective, it would be 2, and the game would completely flip on its head. EDG, though, have control of the bot side river, so they can try to leverage this, particularly with Xiao Hao, to look for any one of the JDG backliners who steps up too far.
Angel gets hit by the Deadly Flourish, but EDG still in a good position to try to secure this Dragon. Curtain Call has been open, but Gala is leaving himself fully open to the artillery of Angel and Leave. Has to cancel the ulti early as the depth charge already has come out, but nobody has fallen just yet. Joshua at half HP, still has his flash and all out available, and the Dragon's at 3K.
It's going to be a 50-50.
Junja also in the pit looking to steal away the Drake from his former team. 2,000, 1,000, nearly. The all out goes out into Xiao Hao, and the Junker's out of the pit until he cataclysms in, but it's not going to matter because Junja still secures the Dragon for JDG. Angel has to flash away. The health bars are starting to melt, and JD Gaming have come to play. Junja with a grand starfall is going to follow up with a falling star of Hongq. A double kill for the Dragon of JD Gaming as they win the fight. They win the Dragon fight, and they'll go towards the Otacon as well.
And Xiao Shu just rips Xiao Hao's ability to contest that scaling advantage Baron up. If they can find a pick onto an EDG member, then they can transition right onto that topside objective. I'm looking at Xiao Hao, I'm looking at ZDZ and Angel. None of them have flash, so there is a potential for them to, go into that topside. You can see all those wards being placed down. That is where they can set up for a pick, but EDG are playing it very, very smartly. They're not overstaying their hand. You can see on the minimap that Xiao Hao is being very cautious when walking up.
A spawn and already started up by Junja on JD Gaming.
But JDG have control of the river, and I mean, Xiao Hao is going to have to go for another 50-50.
Get in there. Oh, a little bit too late, not issuing that flag and drag, and so JDG control that Cloud Soul point. Hongq not able to get over the wall in full with his E, and so Perukia going to be targeted here and sniped down by the Comet of the Pantheon. Angel already chunked as well, but ZDZ looking to try to disrupt things here in this front line, cancels the curtain call of Gala, and make sure no further damage will be done.
And Vampire, again, ejecting Xiao Hao are onto the Baron, but this is a big force. This is a flip if ever I've seen one, Grapes.
Yeah, they're going to try to force JDG in, find some sort of pick, but the curtain call is going to deny any sort of an engage from Edward Gaming, at least for now. ZDZ is tanky, so he will go in, and Vampire will get caught up in the dredge line and taken down by Angel. That's the first kill in the hands of Edward Gaming, but over the wall goes the Nautilus, and Xiao Shu gets one back. It's a 4v4 across the map, but the Chain Corruption lands onto Junja, gonna take a lot of damage from the Blight, and it's a shutdown in the hands of Leave. Xiao Shu going way too far forward, but he's tanky enough to try to buy some space for Hongq and Gala. Cataclysm in, but Gala's able to get on out of it and take down the Jarvan with him, but there comes the golden eclipse of Angel, taking down the third member of JD Gaming and allowing for EDG to win this fight.
And what a crazy team fight from both teams, but I gotta give so much credit over there to Leave and Perukia. Perukia finds the angle onto Vampire. They get a pick onto the Poppy, and then Leave flashes. Chains of Corruption lands. EDG are able to re-engage the fight, and now they're on the Baron. It's getting super low, Grapes, but can they finish it?
There is no smite on either side. Both junglers are down, and Vampire's going to
God.
go in.
Oh,
There's a huge ultimate. The Keeper's Verdict sends away 2. Baron's at 3k. Leaves still trying to keep it aggroed, but his health bar is ticking low. Who's going to get the Baron? It's secured by Perukia, and the Summoner Smite out of his spellbook. And Edward Gaiman are wearing purple for the next 3.
Perukia secures the objective.
They're trying to really just knock on the front door, break it down at this point, but they're on a vision. Leave, you're on wards.
Junja goes in, and there goes Leave. Honkyu with the grand starfall of Junja, and the falling star of the Aurelian Soul will take down the EDG AD carry.
Leave is gone. He's down for another 40 seconds. We're getting closer and closer to 40 minutes in this game. These death timers are no joke. JDG have a numbers advantage. Xiao Hao, it has to come down to a steal. There's no Baron, so there's nothing else that they can possibly gain. But Vampire, he's patrolling with the W.
Xiao Hao spotted. JDG know exactly where the opposition jungler is. It doesn't matter if he goes in. And Angel will steal it. There's no soul in the hands of JDG yet, but they still have the opportunity to win the fight as Honkyu's spitting bars like he's Eminem, taking down member after member of Edward Gaming. He tries to get over the wall. That's a huge E that is opened up for him, but he won't be able to close the gap and only will allow for Xiao Hao to go down. Somehow.
Grapes doesn't feel like it matters for JDG. You have to try closing out this game.
Vampire
just
vanishes like it's daytime here for himself. Before our very eyes. He is out of the picture for the next 33 seconds, and a depth charge lands on the Junja. JD Gaming get caught in a position and might end up paying for it with a lost team fight. That is the jungler out of the picture, but he takes Perukia down. ZDZ is very tanky, and Honkyu is forced to flee. Both carries are still alive, and they won't be able to look for more with the curtain call, looking to slow down the retreat of EDG.
EDG, they get 2 picks. Vampire, what was he doing over there? Way too far up.
It's just for the slowing value. ZDZ is so tanky at this point on the Udyr that I don't even think it gets through the W, the turtle stance of this guy.
Lands on his ZDZ. He's able to pop that unstoppable, get on out of there, but there's a little bit of health taken down as now we see Xiao Hao got out of position himself. He flashes over the wall right as the Keeper's Verdict is issued, but still gets hit by the Deadly Flourish. Not going to get taken down, but he should have to reset or at least be at a very bad position in terms of his health bar right as the Baron has spawned.
We got Redemption, so he's at about half HP. All he has to do is engage. If EDG can pick up the rest of the... You know, if they can clean up the rest of the scraps,
there's that falling star combo, and it's going to do a ton of damage and take Perukia out of the fight immediately. Leave getting chased down by Junja, and Gala will flash in and land the final blow with a crit. It is everybody on EDG getting wiped to the ground as JD Gaming don't even need the Baron to end the game, as they'll win the fight straight in the mid lane and will take themselves to match point.
Steal the dragon, no problem. Win out on the fights, no problem. EDG clutched up so many times, but JDG have the infinite scaling of the Aurelian Soul, and that is damn well enough to net them the win. They will lead the series 2-1 over EDG in the quarterfinals of Demacia Cup, Grapes.
EDG looked like they might have had a miracle in the works. But it's the Flying Oyster duo flying high in the back half of this game and sending JDG up to 2-1 in our Demacia Cup quarters.
You know, we ask because, you know, you have that shield break on W. Aatrox just generally is a little bit better at keeping up in the skirmishing department compared to the Renekton.
For Edward Gaming, it doesn't look like JDG are in the know just yet, but Junja is clearing out his crop, so we'll be here immediately. So it has to be a very quick play from EDG, and quick it was. First blood in for Xiao Hao as EDG answers.
Really important for just making sure you can accelerate your spikes even further.
Perukia, oh my god, 49 HP. Almost able to steal that with the Cosmic Binding, but
JDG to get those accelerated late game carries online quicker, but they do sacrifice the dragon, and that is 2 for JDG.
But JDG are aware of this. They're going to send some reinforcements up to the top side as well. and make sure it is
Angel,
some
no
sort
flash.
of numbers
Angel, no
advantage.
flash.
Oh, Junja
no.
just
Oh,
whiffs!
no. Oh,
no, not getting the unstoppable force could prove disastrous, and the Glacial Fissure is dodged from as well. Angel just crossing up everybody on JDG as the Tempered Fate does land on the Xiaoshu, who already has the World Ender issued, but Xiaohao goes to the skies and takes the Aatrox down. A set of misplays on JDG's side.
On Twitter.
What a set of events there for JDG. Results in them losing the top tower, losing the Rift Herald as well, and of course giving another kill over to the Jungle Jace that you said, Quacks, needed to start scaling. And scaling he has. 1,000 gold in advantage over his opposing jungler.
Yeah, and Xiaohao, crucial game for him to get ahead, not only because of the Jace pick and the nature of this character being so reliant on gold and being able to dish out that damage, but also for Xiaohao personally.
To get back, but that should be a signal for EDG to start this dragon up, unless JDG has something to say about it. Junja's going to face check, instead using a stop before straight into the bush and knock up two. Xiaohao is deleted as Hongq gets on the board first, but Angel's on a flank and a teleport already has come in. Leave, trying to glide here on the Vayne, force the flash away from the ice shard of Hongq, but it is on the other side. JDG wiping away the fight, and the Vayne's the only one left alive on the other side. It is 4 kills into the hands of JD Gaming as they completely negate the early advantage. Currently on the top side of the map. The Otacon's at 8,000 HP. Xiaohao is trying to get in there, but Hongq doing a great job of zoning, and EDG have to get through this bird before they can even get to the major objective. Angel teleports in. Tempered Fate buying some time. Perukia gonna try to get into the pit as well. Who gets the Otacon? It's secured by Junja and JDG, but it's already been Xiaoshu fallen, and EDG picking up a casualty in the fight. Junja with the unstoppable force in, immediately deletes Leave and makes it a 1-for-1 as both sides will retreat.
That one felt a little bit personal from Junja, the unstoppable force directly onto the head of this Vayne. JDG pick up the Otacon. And EDG, they do lose a member, but they are looking for a cross map. They should be able to secure this tier 1, so they don't leave empty-handed. Xiaoshu also resetting. He does have teleport. JDG could give up this dragon, but they want to fight for it. They know they're stronger.
Yeah, they've already started it. EDG have the dragon at 2k, but Junja's gotten into the pit. It will be secured by Xiao, and the soul has been denied for now. A lot of durability off the table, but Angel's been hit up by the unstoppable force and taken down by the Onivia. Hongq gets the first kill, and now ZDZ has to slice and dice away, but Xiaoshu's going to follow with that World Ender. Leave now has his opportunity. ZDZ has to try to tank up as much damage as he can, while Leave is now diving the back line, looking in for Gala, finds the condemn, and Leave gets a big shutdown onto the AD carry, and the reset shall commence. Leave still going, still tumbling, still trying his darndest to get EDG a Game 4 win.
Yeah, Vayne value, I never doubted it for a second. EDG win out on the fight. They secured how this Vayne played it, but nope, we're going right back to live.
You
Baron
can't do that. No, all gas, no brakes for EDG. They found one opening. They're going to take advantage of it. Xiaoshu has just respawned, and he has no teleport to get to the Baron. Perukia using the portal. He's going to try to just use the blast cone to make sure nobody can get in. Junja's into the pit, but it's Baron secured by Edward Gaming, and they will not be able to get anything else other than ZDZ going down.
Yup, they'll get the empowered recalls. They probably lose their mid lane turret for this, but at this point, you're 26 minutes into the game. That isn't a big thing to lose, especially compared to JDG from being able to retake this space. And so Angel on that bot side is going to be able to take that last tier 1 that's standing for JDG. You talk difficulty free hitting in this fight. Flash is almost off cooldown for Leave, but the dragon is being started up regardless.
Hongq getting chunked out by Angel a little bit, who is doing his damnedest right into the Glacial Storm. He goes golden, but it could have actually just singled him out. He flashes away, but the Tempered Fate will find 2, and the Dominus has been popped by ZDG. He's looking to go in on the Gala. Perukia flashing forward as well, and it's going to be the dragon secured by EDG, but Perukia will die on the back end, and Leave doesn't have much to go for in response. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of JDG. Can they get any more than just those kills?
ZDZ's onto the back line. He's trying to pincer with EDG, but the rest of EDG has Xiaoshu, but he doesn't have teleport up, so there really isn't a flank angle for them. They have to meet EDG face to face. Junja?
He gets hit up by the Rune Prison, and remember, he's a full armor Malphite, so that Rise just melts through him. ZDZ's already popped the Dominus, and a Tempered Fate goes in on to Hongq. The Onivia is taken very low, but will not die just yet. Remember, still has the passive in tow. Leaves now has the final hour unlocked. He's able to get away from those chains of the Aatrox, and EDG will be able to survive without anybody going down. They have a teleport on ZDZ, and they will use it to make sure that they will be able to do as much damage as possible to this Baron.
I mean, but one jungler is low HP, the other one is very healthy. That's enough for EDG to just go onto this Baron.
It's that half. It's that 4K. Who's able to get into the pit? Vampire looking.
ZDZ
Is anybody
stuck.
able to secure it? No. It is Xiaohao for Edward Gaming to get the Baron buff. And it will be Angel able to survive as well. Baron recall coming through. Xiaohao should be able to get out of it, but no. At the very last minute, the Winter's Bite connects. And it will be 2 members of Edward Gaming going down at the price of the Baron buff.
I mean, those death timers are at a minute. By the time Xiaohao respawns, you're going to have a dragon coming up in about 20 seconds around this Drake. Remember, they still are on Soul Point. It doesn't matter how many fights EDG win. If JDG gets Soul, this game becomes 10 times harder for them. They were the ones that everyone expected to get them to that higher result.
Leave?
But now Leave is on to
He's going for a solo
Xiaoshu.
play. In on a Xiaoshu right now. Already has popped the World Ender, and Leave will be able to dash away from that chain once again.
Good dodge.
Hongq not getting connected here by the Tempered Fate, and Vampire with the Unbreakable to prevent the stun as well. Prukia very tanky, sitting in the Glacial Storm and still not taking a ton of damage, as now the Dragon has spawned, but they bought enough time for Xiaohao to arrive to the fight. It'll be a pure, good old-fashioned 5v5 with Xiaoshu TPing in.
Yeah, Xiaoshu has to complete that, has to TP back to the fight. Oh, and look at ZDZ.
Has a Dominus, gonna get blocked up by the wall. That's a ton of chunk damage, and they
Jujia!
have found one! That is the unstoppable on all force going straight onto Angel.
God.
And that's JDG taking him down. However, Xiaohao does the most important job. He secures the Mountain Dragon and makes sure that there is no soul for JDG.
It's 3 dragons apiece. It's getting down to the wire. JDG pick 1 member off. Angel is dead for another 45 seconds.
They gotta go for it.
They are just going to try and maybe break down the base, but there's only 2 minions, Grapes. They don't have a wave.
They're gonna maybe have Junja tank things up. They got another wave waiting. It is 30 seconds on Angel. It will surely be an advantage fight for JDG if they decide to
Junji
go
has
in.
ult soon.
Junja's ultimate is up in 3 seconds. He must look for a crucial target. Leave has the Guardian Angel onto him, so he'll be able to survive for quite a long time. It is at least the mid lane inhibitor going down. Leave's able to get away from that potential stun from the wall of Hongq, and now the inhibitor is down. Redemption comes out, and now maybe EDG want to play the long game. They land the Tempered Fate onto 2, and look at Leave going for a flank, but now getting blocked out by the Glacial Storm once again. Unstoppable force. It goes in on the Xiao, but he's able to keep himself alive. But ZDZ is not so lucky, as the Aatrox will finish him off. Gala goes through the portal that Prukia has created, and it might spell the doom of the Edward Gaming. But it looks like the health bars are too low. Gala is too vulnerable, and they will back out.
Bro, Leave is just not allowed into these fights. Hongq is playing bouncer. You're not allowed into this club. Stay away. JDG. Empowered Scuttle Crab as well is going to give them a lot of information, a lot of vision, but they're actually not finishing it.
Hongq,
hang on.
he's taking very low. Angel
no!
nearly able to take him down, but there goes the unstoppable force. It's only on the 1 though, and that means Leave has a lot of opportunity to do some work. The egg's already been popped, and Hongq is in that form, but nobody's able to get to him. Leave isn't able to either. In goes Xiaohao. He does a lot of damage, but he's not tanky enough, and Xiaoshu will take him down. The Aatrox is still getting targeted, but the Q3 is going to secure Perukia's fate. It's Leave in a 1v3. Can he do the impossible? He will not, as
Leave
the
as
Glacial
GA.
Storm will finish him off. He's in the Guardian Angel, the stun, not connecting in time, but Hongq says Hongq and puts EDG to bed. That's the game. That's the series. JDG are going to semis.
JDG with a questionable phase 2 in the Demacia Cup, but a rebound in their last couple of matches. This comp, this team, this org is scaling Grapes into 2026 as they will take down EDG undefeated no more. Welcome to the semifinals, JDG.
They lost their first 2 series. They've won the next 3, looking to make it 4 and 5 en route to a Demacia Cup title. Congratulations.